Alright, so now I'm going to show you how to make a really quick hagawan, drying rack or smoking rack. And what we've done in preparation is we've gotten all together 16 poles because we've got two tripods that are made. You see the way the tripods are put together here. Each have 3 poles just to make that almost the beginning of a little teepee. But we've made these 2 tripods just bounded together with nylon rope. Now we're going to actually make stringers here for where our fish are going to hang over the fire to get the smoke into them. So in preparation, another thing we've prepared is I've gotten baling wire, or hay wire, some people call it. But this is nice to use because it's nice to tie the stringers on with. Because if when I put the cross pulls on, or the stringers here, if I use the nylon rope, that nylon rope kind of doesn't completely tighten and my poles will just be sliding around here. So we actually prefer to use the hay wire or the baling wire. And we've gone ahead and cut 20 pieces because I've got 10 poles that are going to go across, so 5 on each side, and we're going to tie them on each side, so 5 on each side. Simple math there. What's 5 and 5? Of course, is 10. So how many baling wires do we need? If we have 10 poles, we're putting 2 pieces of wire where it's going to connect. So we needed 20 pieces of hay wire. So we're going to start by tying the first one right near the top. We just sort of level it out, hold it there, and just quickly put our wire around it and twist it on. And unlike the nylon rope, this is not going to slide. It's going to hold firmly, because the last thing we want is if we use nylon rope, the pole might move and shift and the fish will fall off. So we'll just quickly continue tying these, and we're going to put them fairly close together because we want it to spread out our fish once we do put our fish on the rack. And again, about the same distance apart. We didn't necessarily need 5 for, I've only got 5 fish there, so we didn't necessarily need this many. But we went ahead anyway, in case we want to use this agawan for something else in the future, like if I had more fish, or if I got some deer meat or moose meat to put on here, I can smoke it on this little rack as well. So it's not just going to be used once. It's going to be used many times. A lot of times with Nemusom, when he'd go hunting, he would actually smoke his moose or make the dry meat right where he harvested the moose. So wherever he got it in the bush, he'd build one of these really quickly. And rather than having to pack all that meat home and butcher it there, he would do everything right there where the moose was taken down. He would build his rack, he'd build his camp, and he'd hang the meat and make his pansawan, his dry meat, right there in the bush, right where he harvested the moose. And it was the same thing with Namistik. A lot of our elders would go camping at the lake and they'd build an agawan like this one, and they would smoke their fish right there at the lake where they caught the fish. So we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Going to get our wire. And like I said, it doesn't take very long to make one of these. It's not all that complicated. Quick and easy to put together. but it's definitely something you commonly see in our Nihao communities, because everybody likes either the dry meat or the meat steak. And you can see our fire is already started underneath it. So I think we've got enough for what we need here. So you can see my rack is nice and solid right over the fire here, so that when that smoke and heat does come up, it's going to be going right to where my fish is going to be hanging. So we've already cut our fish. So you saw how I had cut them. Now what I'm actually going to do, I see I had left that backbone on there. The tail is here. I'm actually going to flip this tail through that hole where the fin was. And I'm actually going to hang it right on the rack with this backbone facing into the fire, towards the fire. And this will be spread out outside. You'll see it when I put it on here. And that backbone actually helps to kind of act as a weight and to hold it in place. Take another one again, flip that tail through that fin hole. Get it kind of balanced there. Spread it out. I don't want to just let it clump together there. Again, flip that tail through that fin. Spread it out so it's going to smoke evenly. And I just keep repeating the same process until I've got them all hanging on my rack. Biggest thing is I want to make sure that they're spread out, because if they're not properly spread out, I'm going to get folds in there and it's not going to smoke or dry properly. I want it spread right out so that smoke gets all over. And the last one. So there, now our fish is set to smoke and dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be adding a little bit more wood here to get a little bit more heat. Not a lot of heat. I want mostly smoke. With our wood that we're using for here for smoking, we would never use spruce wood or anything like black poplar or anything like that. Or even if we sometimes use birch, but very little birch. Because with spruce, black poplar, and birch, what they give off oils when you do burn them. So spruce it gives off oils in the smoke, and you get the really bitter tasting oil coming onto anything that you're smoking. So the wood that we actually use is either poplar, dried poplar wood, alder, or willow. Most preferably diamond willow. Diamond willow has got a reddish color to it, and what happens is when we burn it, it makes more smoke than it does flame. But that smoke that does come off it is very flavorful. It's very much like a hickory smoke when it does come off of the diamond willow. Alder is the same, but the alder is a little bit of wetter wood. So what happens with the alders, it's hard to get them when they're perfect for smoking because alder will either be, it'll be rot too fast and it won't be any good for smoking because it just burns right up. If it's too wet, then it won't even light. It won't even maintain a flame. Diamond willow, even if it's wet, it'll continue to smolder and produce heat and smoke, but more smoke than flame. So we actually prefer diamond willow is the best wood to use. We, in my territory here anyway, we prefer the diamond willow because of the flavor you get off of it. You get a really hickory wood flavor off of that smoke. Never ever use the spruce. We get those oils going into the meat, and it just makes it bitter, and the spruce burns way too hot. A lot of people use poplar, but I find myself with poplar, there's not a whole lot of flavor. You don't really get that smoky flavor from that wood. It does the job. It'll dry the fish if we use poplar, but we wouldn't have that much flavor in there. So what we're going to do now is we're going to let this smoke actually probably, you want to do maybe 2 days, letting it smoke, slow smoking all day over this sagawan. And we just watch it, we keep the fire going, and a lot of times, if it's going to snow or rain, we'll continue to smoke because we could just put plastic or put a tarp right over top of it. And even if we do that now when it's not raining, it'll help keep all of that smoke coming right into my fish here. But for now, it's the air is going to help it to dry along with the heat and with the smoke. And if we keep this smoking all day, that would be enough for smoked fish. And it would be just perfect flavor in there for if we're going to throw it in the oven or continue cooking it. If I want to completely dry it, I'm going to have to do this for at least 2 days of constant flame and smoke and heat on it to completely dry it. So it depends what you're wanting it for. If you're going to prepare it to, say, smoke it just to get the smoke flavor, and then you can bag it and put it in your freezer for whenever you want to eat it like that. Or if you want to completely dry it, then again, you're looking at a longer process to get this completely dry. But that is the entire process of making the mystique and with Tikkameg. And maybe when these are done, we'll just give you a quick shot of exactly what it looks like after it's been in the smoke and flame for a couple days. So that's it for now. We'll see you back a little later and we'll give you a quick shot of the finished product.